You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Thanks so much for joining me here today on part one of our Cabral HouseCalls. We're about to get into our community's questions. We answer each and every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, all the questions that have come in the order they are received from the past month or two. We're typically about 5 weeks to 6 weeks or so behind, but always catching up each and every week. So the questions are always amazing. They're from our community. You're welcome to submit your own at stephencabral.com/ask Cabral. I do answer them each and every weekend. You never know when it's going to come up. I do try to give the dates as I'm reading them specifically so you can know if yours already was answered or if it's coming. And then also, now the best way though, is to simply ask your question at cabralsupportgroup.com. That is a URL that just forwards to our Facebook group, and it enables our health coaches to be able to give you real-world advice, typically within 24 hours, and you get our community's feedback as well. So I think it's a pretty powerful group. I mean, the group's absolutely amazing, almost 7,000 people, depending on when you're listening to this podcast. And it's honestly a lot of fun. It's a great community, amazing people. And also, if you're in the integrative health practitioner certification or course, you can use that private Facebook group to ask other IHPs inside of that group for a higher level of advice. That's a huge benefit of being part of that group, is that we're talking really high level people after they've become certified and based on their previous background to provide their input. So it's a really nice value add that we love having there. And we love getting all of the people in the feedback there. And there are about 1,000 people in that community as well. So it's fantastic. These people are from all around the world, and we get to interact with the power of the internet. So without further ado, let's dive into today's first question. These questions, again, as I said, are about 5 weeks previous to when they've come in, and we will be answering them in the order they've come in. Okay, the first question is from Karin, and Karin says, "Hello, Dr. Cabral. I listen to your podcast every day and never stop learning something new. I was diagnosed with candida overgrowth, and I really want to know, is there any truth behind the dietary recommendations to avoid the consumption of yeasts and mushrooms not medicinal? And if so, why? As a biologist, I'm really interested in the mechanism behind it. Thank you so much." All right, Karin, happy to answer this. And yes, so what we do is we always recommend not putting in any type of additional yeast or fungus into the digestive system. Now, I'll tell you this. If you were to use something like a reishi mushroom, a chaga, lion's mane, not a big a deal. It's really not. But if you were to use something like kombucha, that is a bigger deal. Because inside of that contains nutrients that the candida inside of your intestines, oftentimes the small intestinal tract, will use it to feed on. So let me give you a little bit more context. Inside of that kombucha can be some fructose. And those fructans can be a type of sugar that yeast will ferment with. Now, regular mushrooms won't be high in fructans, so those would be okay. However, many mushrooms are higher in polyols. And polyols will enable you to feed good bacteria or to feed bad bacteria, and that includes candida as well. So just to be on the safe side, we do no fungus, no mushrooms, no yeast, and we also do no kombucha fermented foods for the first 4 weeks. And then we can start to try to introduce if we're able to. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Again, we always say do it once, do it right, never do it again. And since there is some ability for the biological breakdown of that food. So as you break it down further into fructans and polyols, etc., well, those things can begin to feed the yeast and bacteria. And we call those fructo, oligo, di, mono, and polysaccharides. Okay, Carolyn's up next. How can I lower my LDL to below 50? Would my liver be producing too much LDL for some reason other than my diet? I'm a 64-year-old female, diagnosed with coronary artery disease. Father died at 66. Another brother had bypass. My total cholesterol is 176, HDL 72, triglycerides 69, and my LDL is 88. I'm on a certain statin. I'm not going to leave that in there. I'm just going to put statin. I'm not going to say the brand name because, again, we don't disparage on the podcast. All right. So she's talking about how she eats her veggies and her yogurt and her 8-beaters and her oats and her grains and some dark chocolate. Okay. So I totally understand your question, but here's the deal. Your cholesterol, your HDL, your triglycerides, and your LDL are perfect. Perfect. There's absolutely no need for you. Again, this is not medical advice. Let me step back. I'm not providing medical advice, no diagnosis, no curing, no treating disease. I don't know who asked you to get your LDL below 50, but that would be so low for LDL. Your cholesterol profile is a dream for most people. I know that you're on a statin, okay? So you do need to be taking your ubiquinol. You need to be taking other things that are going to help your activated B vitamins with mitochondria, etc. But I don't know what the issue is here. Now, if you wanted to get off of a statin, which it did not say in there, then you would work on other things. My highest recommendation is to run an omega-3 test because you want to look beyond cholesterol. Remember, if you have issues with your arteries or you have issues with inflammation, that can still cause heart disease or heart attack. So you want to run that omega-3 test. You want to make sure that you're at a 3-to-1. Okay, you might have to take out the egg beaters. You might have to take out things like that. But we can get you to a 3-to-1 for sure. And that's going to help reduce the chance for sudden cardiac death. It's an amazing marker. It's called omega-3. We call it the inflammation and omega-3 test. You can find that at equilibriumnutrition.com, or you can run an advanced omega-3 profile with your favorite functional medicine doctor or integrative health practitioner. Okay, so a predominantly plant-based diet. You can follow my recommendations, right? 35 grams of fiber per day, getting your omega-3s probably to 2 grams, maybe even 3 grams a day. If you're on a blood thinner, then you'll have to speak with your doctor. So there's all sorts of different things, but if you're living a good, healthy lifestyle, you're using probably daily foundational protocol level 2 is what I use and recommend, you'll be doing well. So then you have to make sure that you're not on straight calcium. If you're on calcium, you'll want a CalMag. You don't want to be doing mega doses of vitamin D, more like 4,000 IUs per day for healthy adults, making sure those levels are correct. And then, of course, you want to make sure that your cortisol is not high in the evening, and you also don't want low thyroid, all of these things that can contribute to cholesterol and artery-based issues. So, Carolyn, that's a bunch of places to start, and I hope that helps. Jada is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thanks for all the wonderful information you make available to people. I'm a 37-year-old woman who isn't overweight, pre-diabetic, smoker, or drinker, who has been experiencing heart disease symptoms. I get extremely short of breath, doing nothing to the point of feeling as if I'm suffocating, and it prevents me from sleeping, chest pressure that can cause me to dry heave that will last for days. I have heaviness of the arms, weakness, being woken up from sleep, not breathing, sometimes SVT, which stands for supraventricular tachycardia episodes, hair loss, tachycardia, fatigue. I understand it. Hormonal issues with possible endometriosis. Hashimoto's, but thyroid is stable. Okay, so let's see what else you have going on, because all the long questions everyone can read over at stevencabral.com/1352. stevencabral.com/1352 is today's show notes page. Okay, so let's see. EKGs are now borderline, and I have one abnormal EKG after I was given albuterol, which showed ischemia and mild T-wave depression. I've been a 9 cardiologists, naturopathic doctors, a couple functional medicine doctors. Okay. Well, let's give you some advice. All right, Jada. Again, no medical advice. We are helping you over a podcast, giving you the best of my ability with reading about 10 lines of information, okay? So here's the thing. I would look at big rocks first. Dysregulation and hypoglycemia, meaning blood sugar. Dysregulation in the thyroid, okay? You want to run those T4, T3, free levels, by the way. TSH. I understand that you said you have Hashimoto's, but thyroid is stable. Does that mean you're on medication? Because that could be speeding up the heart rate. For sure, it can. It looks like you were given albuterol. We want to be careful with what we're putting in our body. Your body very well may have an electrolyte imbalance. I would run a hair tissue mineral analysis. I would run an organic acids test, at least to start. Now, if you could do more, I would do the omega-3 test next, and I would absolutely do the thyroid adrenal hormone. I would look to see if you have higher levels of cortisol. All of this could be contributing to the symptoms that you have. So we need to really look at electrolytes, so the balance of calcium to magnesium and sodium to potassium. We need to look at higher output of cortisol. We need to look at drops in blood sugar. We need to look at high or low thyroid output. And these are the main ones that I'm looking at right now for you. So hopefully that helps. More data will give us more answers. It could be heavy metals, could be mold, but those are a little bit more underlying. So that's what I would look at, higher levels of copper. But again, the hair tissue mineral analysis will show that. So hopefully that helps, and that is where I would start. Lauren's up next. Another long question today. All right. So Lauren writes in, Dear Dr. Cabral, I've been listening to your podcast for about 4 months. I love everything you do. It's amazing how one person can be such a wealth of knowledge in so many different areas of expertise. I'm female, 31, 68 kilograms, no children, BMI, fine. I've been working with a local practitioner to help heal from a variety of diseases I've discovered along the way. Hay fever, pollen issues, animals, so a lot of allergies, okay? Itchy eyes, and you've tried everything. You live in Dubai, where my allergies didn't flare up. I never feel well rested. I suffer from regular ear infections as I was a flight attendant. My IgE is through the roof, okay? IgE is immunoglobulin E, which is a looking at a allergy-based response to internal foods or tissue breakdown even sometimes, or environmental allergens. Talking about eosinophils being high, have asthma, eczema. All right. Talk about that you tested positive for parasites. I discovered some mold in your home. All right. Well, here's the thing. I've read your issues with many, many different issues. Allergies and eczema, skin issues, sleep. We've got PCOS, celiac, anxiety, depression. When everything is going wrong, when there's so many different issues, what I like to do is go back. I did a podcast on this. It's called Undernourished and Overstressed, but it's the root cause of most illnesses. And I would love for you to tune into that show. Maybe you already have, because it was put out after you wrote this question. That was episode 1335. If you listen to that show, you will know where to start. Because when there is so much wrong, and there was so much wrong with me, you need to start with digestion. And most likely you are someone, again, I don't know, but most likely, again, we can know with doing the digestive tests, that you have higher levels of candida overgrowth, or bacterial overgrowth, or parasites, or H. pylori. The way that you know is to run that complete candida metabolism and vitamins test, and the bacteria and parasites test, the stool test. And by running those labs, you will see what's going on with your gut. Now, if you can only start there, I'd start there. Next up, I would look at the hair tissue mineral analysis. Believe it or not, I know, because you could be someone who is a 4 low in terms of electrolytes, which is basically burnt out. You're not able to keep up, which is why you have all the allergies, all the asthma-based symptoms. After that, I would run the thyroid adrenal hormone, really important test as well. Then I'd run the omega-3, and finally the food test. I put the food test last because I'm sure that you probably have a lot of food sensitivity, so we would give you a normal elimination diet either way. So this is how I would work the process for you. Then we would develop a plan with the biggest rocks first. Now, the biggest rocks make the biggest difference. Getting rid of the H. pylori, parasites, candida, or bacterial overgrowth, doing a rebalancing-based protocol, then sealing up the gut wall. Now you don't have as much bacteria spilling in. You don't have as many proteins spilling in. Now your immune system's not as aggravated. So it can better deal with the allergies and the asthma and the skin issues, right? So that's a better play for sure in inflammation. That's how I would work this progress or this process. And again, I would go back to episode 1335 for more information. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you, though. I appreciate you writing in. And again, even when everything seems like it's kind of falling down, there's still an answer for you as well. No doubt about it. Karen's up next. Hello, whenever I walk for exercise, I find that my hands start to swell and feel uncomfortable and dry. I also get a little itchy on the inner parts of my thighs. I've read this could be a result of low sodium. I am otherwise more so a lean Vata body type. I eat whole foods and exercise often. I've noticed this happens mainly when I walk very fast-paced, and it isn't affected by what I wear. Any suggestions on how I can stop this from happening? It's quite uncomfortable. Thank you so much. All right, couple things. Lauren was our last question. Lauren, you can also search eosinophil at stevencabral.com/podcasts, and that will give you more information on your topic as well. Karin, you can search histamine, and that will give you more information on your topic as well. But what can happen is, as you start to sweat, it actually can be a sodium imbalance like you just talked about. There's no doubt about that. It can actually be a sodium imbalance. So I'm not going to overlook that. Or it could be you are just revving up your walking just a little bit. Your body is a little bit more in the exhaustion phase. It is. And because of that, you're pushing your upper limits. You're actually creating more inflammation than maybe your body can handle right now. I don't have the reasoning behind that. Heavy metal overload, depletion of a lot of the functional levels of the electrolytes, lower magnesium, lower sodium. Those are possibilities for sure. Or maybe there is some type of intestinal permeability as well, and you have higher levels of cytokines in the body, higher levels of histamines, not producing enough of that enzyme inside of the gut called diamine oxidase. There could be circulatory issues. You're, again, what's called vasodilating too quickly, which again can be a histamine-based issue. And histamines can be increased with exercise if the body's not properly regulated. So again, I don't know if you're someone that's a little bit feeling more burnt out. You do say that you're a lean Vata body type, so that could be it. Let's rebalance the body, bring up those electrolytes, bring up those minerals, ease into the exercise programs, and have you feeling a lot better. Again, run the hair tissue mineral analysis, then run the starter kit, which is hair tissue mineral analysis is the mineral metals test. The organic acids is what we're calling the complete candida metabolism and vitamins test. So those are two great ones to start. Then after that, the thyroid adrenal hormone as well. All right. Rika is up next. Might be Reka. It's Reka. And the question is, hello, Stephen. Can you please shed some light? Everyone is raving on about celery juice during digestive disorders and because of the medical medium. He also claims that eggs and butter, organic grass feed, doesn't matter, cause disease over time. Is there truth to this? Can you please explain? Thank you for everything. All right. What I want, and I know someone asked me to just give the answer anyways, but I'm not going to. And here's why. Because I go in depth on a lot of these topics, and they deserve more than 2 to 3 minutes of me answering the question. So what I'd like you to do is go to stevencabral.com/podcast and type in celery juice. And when you type in celery juice, you're going to find 5 results. I just did it. And on episode 966, you will find the pros, cons, and science of celery juice. So check out that. I did a 10-minute answer on that. So I'm not saying that I'm not giving you your answer, Rika. Just head on over to stevencabral.com/966. All right. In terms of eggs and butter, mainly eggs is what Anthony talks about. Well, here's the issue, is that egg yolks and egg whites itself, but eggs are very powerful anabolic food. But you can look at this in terms of most proteins. Most proteins are going to allow for the proliferation of viruses. If you have a lot of viruses in your body, a higher protein diet may exacerbate that. I wouldn't necessarily single out eggs as the bad guy, but eggs do have special properties to them and do help with growth. We know that for multiple reasons. One is they're an anabolic food. They're also, when you look at the bioassimilation of eggs, it's very high. Very easy to assimilate, get right into the body. And also they can increase growth factor. So those are all reasons. Also, when companies are making vaccines, they also sometimes use egg white as part of that. That can lead to a sensitivity within the body, or it can simply show that they're using that as a good base, a stable base to allow for that virus to thrive as well. So there are multiple ways to look at this. And what I would say is, I don't recommend a high protein diet. If you're someone who's healing, it's not going to be the easiest thing to digest in the first place. Once you're well, I don't see an issue. Again, you can choose to be completely vegan and plant-based if you'd like. I don't see an issue with someone doing 2 eggs per week. Again, unless you have a sensitivity to eggs, then that's a problem. And again, you can run a food sensitivity test, and we highly recommend that lab because, believe it or not, eggs are the number 3 food sensitivity that we see, and we run thousands of these lab tests. Okay? So hopefully that was helpful. Great questions, and those are the answers on those. All right, let's do one more question. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm a huge fan of all that you do and listen to your podcast religiously. I especially love your training Training Thursday episodes. I also enjoy weight training. I'm 5'9", 71 kilos, predominantly Vata body type. I'd like to gain a little size without harming my health. In recent years, I've suffered from Meniere's disease. However, between your fantastic podcast and my local naturopath's help, I feel like I can say I've finally gotten top of it. Touch wood. The only problem is I sometimes feel increased symptoms, mainly ear fullness and slight hearing loss in the right ear within a day or so after workouts with heavy compound lifts, especially squats and deadlifts. I'm concerned with the heavy weights, maybe too taxing to my CNS. What do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts on the connection between CNS and weightlifting. I know my diet and sleep have room for improvement, if I'm honest. Obviously, my health is more important than growing beach muscles, but I just want to feel progress. My body often seems to flare up. Thank you so much for all you do. If you were in Australia, I'd shout you a beer or mineral water to say thanks. All the best, Cameron. Cameron, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone. When you write in and you say that you appreciate the podcast, you've gotten benefit from it, I love that. I mean, I really do. Sometimes I glaze over it. I think I have a weird thing with praise as well, but I certainly appreciate it. I really do. I honestly do. So thank you. Okay, we've done many podcasts on what to eat to gain muscle healthily. I've done it on a podcast now a few times, done it on a house call a few times. So you can check that out. Now, you are correct. When you lift too hard, you are most likely causing an exacerbation of inflammation that's unchecked at the moment in your body. That's leading to your genetic, I don't like to use weakness, let's say like Achilles heel, right? Everybody has one. And that's where it goes with you. So what we need to do is let's bring up your reps a little bit, which is less taxing for the central nervous system. Let's reduce the total volume. So you can still do the big compound movements, but you might not want to do the 5 sets of 5. You might want to do 3 sets of 12, right? And not push yourself to absolute exhaustion. That can work as well. Then you can continue to work your way up slowly. And when you do a workout and it's lower rep and heavier weight, try one less set. Honestly, do it to the point where there is no exhaustion. There is no tiredness. There's no symptoms the next day. The next week, try just a little bit more. Now, to offset this, we need more sleep. We need more omega-3s. We need more B vitamins. We need more zinc. We need more vitamin C. We need more of all of those nutrients that rebuild your body, especially the Vata body type. So, Cameron, by doing this and just kind of finding your happy medium, by doing an every other day workout, keeping a day in between, you're going to be able to reduce and allow that inflammation to go down gradually, and you're going to be able to get it. You'll find what works best for your body, whether it's a little bit more magnesium, whether it's a little bit of liquid melatonin at night for a couple weeks to get yourself into a deeper sleep cycle. You'll figure it out. Today is episode 1352. So head on over to stevencabral.com/1352 to read Cameron's great question and many others. And also, you have 1,352 episodes. Go back, listen to them all. I know there's a lot, but here's the thing. If you go back and listen, you don't put a timetable when you need to finish, and you listen to them on a daily basis, you are going to get a functional medicine education, in my opinion, that is going to serve you and your family for the rest of your life. I truly believe that. It is information that I've gathered over the years that I'm a mouthpiece for, that I'm simply sharing that information with you. I don't want any credit. You can pass it off as your own. I'm okay with that. So hopefully this has been helpful. And then also, Cameron, inside of the Integrative Health Practitioner course and certification, we teach a graduated exercise protocol that might also be worthwhile for you as well. So hopefully today's show has been helpful. If it has, always feel free to pass along to anyone else you believe it could serve. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions. Take care, everyone. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.